What's up, everybody? Welcome to Brotherz Outdoorz weekly live news updates. My name is Chris Atkins, and I'm going to be your host here coming in, and I am just glad to be with you guys. Um, I've been a hunter and a fisherman my whole life, pretty much, and thanks to our guest today, Dr. Bill Adkins, my father. How you doing today, Dad?
I'm doing good, son.
Doing good. Yeah, he raised us this way, and that's why we are the way that we are, and that's particularly why I am the way that I am. And today I'm looking forward to interviewing him because, everybody knows him as a leader in the community and the pastor of Greater Money Church, the Cathedral of Faith. But what you don't know him as is Bill Atkins, the outdoorsman, the fisherman, the deer hunter, the elk hunter, the bear hunter. So that's really cool that you guys are going to get to know him. So the first question, well, first of all, welcome to our first show, and I can't think of a better guest to have on our first episode of our weekly outdoors news show. So, welcome and thank you for joining us. Oh, are you there?
Just a little bit.
Okay, well, I hear you loud and clear. Well, welcome. We're glad to have you here.
It's good to be here with you, Chris. I'm glad to be here with Brotherz Outdoorz. I'm so proud of you and your brothers and what you guys are doing and the legacy that I've given you for hunting and fishing and just loving the outdoors in general. It just makes me really proud to see that you've taken it to a whole nother level. So I'm very happy about everything.
Well, thank you, Dad. Well, the first question I wanted to ask you were, how old were you when you first started fishing?
Oh God, when I first started fishing. Okay. First started fishing with my mother. And I guess I was probably whenever I started walking.
Oh, wow.
Now she told me I walked in 9 months, but I don't think I was out there walking with her in 9 months fishing. But I would probably guess 2 or 3 years old. I was walking behind my mother up and down fish banks all around Tennessee and Mississippi. Mom just, I was always with her. She was a great outdoorsman. I get a lot of my outdoors love for the outdoors from my mother, who loved fishing, and as far as I can remember, as a child, I was walking behind her up and down one fish bank to another fish bank, one pond to another pond, one lake to another lake. That's just how it was.
So I assume you guys were pole fishing back then.
Cane pole fishing.
Cane pole fishing.
Cane pole fishing, not these fiberglass poles. Cane pole fishing with bobbers and hooks and weights and worms and crickets and minnows.
Right. So did she teach you how to tie a knot and bait your own hook and everything like that?
She taught me how to tie the most simplest of knots. I think like the shoelace knot. Um, that was the knot I always used. In fact, I rigged most of the poles. In fact, when I come to think about it, I used to rig her fishing poles. So
Oh, wow.
we had about 5 or 6 poles that we always took with us when we went fishing, and I was pretty good at rigging them. So she liked me to rig her pole for her.
That's pretty cool. So, did she also teach you how to clean the fish? Because I know you're pretty good at it now. So, did she teach you at that age, 5, 6 years old?
Well, no, not that young, but I did scale them when I was that young.
The-
We take a spoon then. We'd scale a fish with a spoon.
yeah.
And she let me scale them and teach me how to scale them, but she wouldn't let me use the knife then. I didn't start really cutting and cleaning fish with the knife and all until I was about 8 or 9 years old.
So, at 8 or 9 years old, you were, of course, doing the fishing. But when did you start hunting?
Okay, now that's another story. My grandmother's from Greenwood, Mississippi. And when she was living down in Greenwood before she moved to Memphis, my father would drive down to see her, and we would stay over a weekend. And one weekend, we got there on like a Friday night. One Saturday morning, she woke me up. I said, "Get up, boy." She always called me boy. That was my name, boy. "Get up, boy." And I got up, and she said, "Look, I want you to go kill me a rabbit." And she said, "Can you do that?" And I said, "Well, yes, ma'am." And she pulled out this old 16 gauge J.C. Higgins shotgun.
Oh, wow.
Now, this shotgun was probably 50 years old then, so that gun was probably made around the early 1900s. And she gave me three 16 gauge shotgun shells. And she put that gun in my hand, and she said, "Go out there, kick some of them brush piles up and see if you can shoot a rabbit."
Wow.
And I literally went out with that big old shotgun. I was about 11, and I started kicking brush piles, and every now and then a rabbit would jump. And I had already been shooting a BB gun and a pellet
Okay.
gun and a little 22 rifle, so I knew how to shoot.
Right.
So the shotgun, although it was big and heavier, the first rabbit I ever shot at, I killed. So I went back that day with 2 rabbits for her, and she was so proud of me. So every time I went back down there again, I had to hunt for her. So I
Okay.
would kill rabbits, I would kill opossums, uh, coons, raccoons,
Right.
uh, everything. Now that's also how I started deer hunting. Don't forget that part
Right.
now. Because one day I was hunting rabbits, kicking brush piles,
Mm-hmm.
and I kicked this brush pile, and a deer, a doe, jumped up right in front of me and stood, looked at me, and then took
Mm-hmm.
off running. Now, just my natural instinct was, well, that ain't nothing but a big rabbit.
Right.
So
Same colors.
they ain't nothing but a big rabbit.
All
So I
right.
shot the doe, shot the deer, and I dragged that deer up to the back porch of my grandmother's house. And when she saw that deer, she just screamed. She said, "Boy, what have you done?" I said, "Well, I was hunting rabbits, but this deer jumped up." And she said, "Oh my Lord, get him on the porch." And boy, we cut that deer, skinned him, and everything. Everything. From that point on, I had to kill her deer every year. Now she wanted a few rabbits,
And
but I had to kill her deer. So that's how I started deer hunting.
that's pretty cool. So, back there in Mississippi, how was it growing up a hunter and fisherman in the 1950s and 60s?
Well, the black folk uh, tended to hunt on their land, their property. We didn't hunt in the state parks
Right.
where they had the hunting areas. Mostly all of our hunting was always confined to somebody's land. If it wasn't your land,
Mm-hmm.
it was Brother Jones' land. It was Brother Smith's land. It was in the back of Sister Taylor's house.
Right.
That's how we hunted. That's just the way it was then. Black people would not feel very comfortable hunting around white people in state parks or state reserves. So that was essentially it. And everybody hunted, Chris. Everybody. I mean, everybody hunted because remember this now. In the 50s and 60s, there wasn't no supermarkets.
Right.
There were no supermarkets. There were grocery stores,
Mm-hmm.
but there were no supermarkets. So people in the country, the only meat, the only proteins they had were normally rabbits, possums, raccoons,
Mm-hmm.
squirrels. They
Yep.
eat squirrels.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they eat species of birds. I knew black people used to eat blackbirds.
Oh
The
wow.
regular blackbirds that fly in your yard, they used to know
Mm-hmm.
how to cook a pot full of blackbirds. That was the protein. Chicken was like something that was for special occasions. If you ate chicken, it was usually on a Sunday dinner.
Okay.
People didn't kill chickens a lot because they needed the eggs from the chickens.
Right.
In Africa, they asked us one time, "Why do y'all eat so much chicken? Don't you want the eggs?" They would say to us,
Right.
you know. So
Exactly.
their thought is, why kill the chicken when the chicken can feed you every day with eggs, and just feed you a couple of days with its meat?
Right. So that's cool. So during this time, you were hunting, of course, in the 50s and 60s. Were you going by yourself, hunting or fishing?
Yeah,
Okay.
always by myself. Well, not fishing. My let's see. Now you're talking about 50s. I was in elementary school. Um, Along the time that I got to around the eighth, ninth grade, my good friend and I, Emery Gordon, and
Mm-hmm.
I started fishing together. Emery is a grade behind me, but his mama was a fisherman,
Okay.
and we were kind of raised up the same way. And we talked about it, and we both had motorcycles. We loved our little motorcycles, and we started hunting, not hunting, but fishing together.
Right.
And that's how it led into bass fishing, getting
Mm-hmm.
boats, and all of that stuff.
Right.
But that's how we started. But Emery was the first one that I actually fished with outside of my mother.
So in your early 20s, you moved to Los Angeles. How
Yeah.
did you maintain your spirit of wanting to be an outdoorsman, living in Los Angeles, working in the record industry in LA in the 1970s? How did you still want to hunt deer and live that life?
I missed it. I mean, I missed it. I had to let it go. I mean, California still to this day, is a tough state for hunting. You know, I mean,
Yes.
to hunt in California, you got to almost get a congressional order. I mean, it's really tough out there. So that was a part of my life I had to let go. The things that I missed most when I was in California was I miss seeing the seasons. I miss seasons, the changing of the seasons. I couldn't get used to Christmas and palm trees. That was
Right.
hard for me to get used to. And you know, it would never get cold, and I miss cold weather. And then I miss fishing. In fact, a couple of times I went around a couple of little lakes out there, and I saw guys fishing, and I would help show them how to fish, and they were fishing for yellow perch
Okay.
and a couple other things, but I never got a chance to really fish myself, you know. But I just missed it. That's something that when I moved out there, I lost it for a long time until I came back home.
Okay. So you moved back to Memphis. When did you start back hunting and fishing again after you moved back to Memphis?
As soon as I got back.
So did you like dive back into deer hunting or?
Well, what happened was a classmate of mine from Christian Brothers College, Oliver Payton, his father owned a lot of land outside of Holly Springs, Mississippi. And Oliver and his brother Reginald, they allowed me to hunt on their land, which was next to Chihuahua Forest
Oh,
Park,
wow.
outside of Holly Springs. And the beauty of that was I could take deer on their property because the hunters, which were mostly white, hunting in Chihuahua, would actually run the deer over to our land, to the Payton's land.
Oh, wow.
And I would kill deer for just about everybody down there, for the families down there. His mama, Miss Lurleen, for other people down the road, Mr. Clemens and some others. They said, you know, get me a deer, get me a deer, get me a deer. So I was literally deer hunting for meat,
Right.
and for people and supplying people with meat.
So you get back to Memphis. Is that around the time where you bought your first bass boat, or did you have a bass boat before you left, or boat, or
I
jumbo?
had my first bass boat a little bit after I got back. I bought a Ranger bass boat. I had the first. Emory and I have always had boats. I bought the first bass boat between the two of us. It was a Ranger bass boat with a 40 horsepower motor, and I thought that thing was fast. That boat, we could do 35 miles an hour. To me, that was flying.
That was getting
That
it.
was flying. Now you know why I'm laughing, right?
Right. You got 250
You know why
now.
I'm laughing.
Right. I know exactly why you're laughing.
And so if, you know, anytime you think 35 miles an hour is going to be fast, that had to be a long time ago. 'Cause right now, the boat that I'm in now do 80 miles an hour easily.
Right. So how was it fishing back then? Like, where were you fishing? Was it still like the places we go now, surrounding Memphis?
Sardis and Tunica. It was Sardis, Tunica, Enid, Grenada.
Okay.
Those are the areas that we fished, especially Tunica. Fish Tunica, we used to call it Tunica Cutoff.
Right.
We fished Tunica a lot. Then there was Lake View, which was right across the state line, but Lake View has become a private hunting club now, so we can't fish on Lake View anymore. But Tunica Lake was started first. We started fishing first on Tunica. Then we went to Sardis, and after fishing Sardis, we started fishing Grenada and Enid. So the big reservoirs of Mississippi. And we would also fish at Ocklabutton.
Right. Okay. Now, were you doing any bass tournaments at this time with Mr. Emory?
Well, we did the first. St. Jude used to have a bass tournament to raise funds for St. Jude. And we dared to say, okay, we little black guys, we will go get in this tournament. And we registered, fill out the paperwork, and got back, got our number to be in which boat, our boat and whatever, got our boat number. And we went down there. And to the shock of everybody, they found out we was black. They looked at us and saw we were black. But nobody stopped us. Nobody tried to discourage us. In fact, that was the day I met Bill Dance.
Oh, wow.
Bill Dance was one of the, I guess you can say, chairman, working the committee for St. Jude, and the tournament was at Sardis Lake. And I met Bill Dance, and he was very cordial. And he said, "You fellas fishing?" I said, "Yeah, we're fishing." He said, "Well, come on, let's get at it."
That's cool.
And so I think that's what I'm saying. I think we were the first blacks to to get into that tournament. There may have been some others before us, but that's why I can't say for sure. But that day, the only black folk there was me and Emory.
Well, speaking of you being the first, you've pretty much led the charge in Memphis in big game hunting. How did you get into big game hunting?
Oh boy, Chris, I used to watch a show on TV with Kurt Gowdy called The American Sportsman.
Mm-hmm.
And as a black kid, now you got to get to that time. As a black kid, you didn't see black men doing nothing like that. And I was already killing rabbits and killing deer and coons and possums and stuff. So I was attracted to hunting. But Kurt Gowdy this show was about big game hunting. And man, I fell in love with that. I saw those guys hunting bears, Cape buffalo in Africa, and elephant and rhino and hippopotamus. And I saw that and I just said, one of these days, Lord, in the name of Jesus, I'm going to do that.
Right.
And I put that on my to-do list, that I would be a big game hunter and I would travel the world hunting. And I just stuck to it. I kept it in the back of my mind. And when I got to the point where I could afford it, because it's an expensive thing to do.
Yes.
But when I got to the point that I could afford it, I started traveling all across the country and world hunting.
So what was your first big game animal that you ever harvested?
Caribou in Canada.
Okay.
My first, I guess you could say big game. Caribou is a species of deer in Canada. It's actually the reindeer. It's actually Santa Claus's real reindeers.
Right.
I went on a trip. I saw advertisement in Outdoor Life magazine for this hunt at James Bay Adventures in Saskatchewan, Canada. No, not Saskatchewan. That was Quebec, French-speaking Quebec.
Okay.
And I just called them up, asked them how much, sent them a check, caught a plane, and went right there. And they took me out hunting. And boy, I was lucky to have this guy who kind of took me under his wing to teach me about tracking caribou and how to hunt big game. And I hunted with him. Your mother tell you I hunted with him probably 15 years straight.
Oh, wow.
I would go back and forth constantly to James Bay Adventures. That became a pattern of mine. So caribou, it became caribou first. Then after caribou, I started hunting elk. Okay. And I was hunting elk in outside of Craig, Colorado. Same case. I'm just look, in those outdoor life magazines, there's advertisements in the back, and it'll be advertising places to hunt.
Right.
And that's how we found out. We didn't have internet back then,
Right.
So you just write a postcard. I say, I want to hunt, how much, blah, blah. And they send me an application, fill it out, and select the dates, and, I'd go. And so I started elk hunting. Okay. And then I went to the Safari Club International National Convention, and I met this fellow named Glenn Hill there. And Glenn owned a hunting lodge in Saskatchewan, Canada, bear hunting. And Glenn said, why don't you come up and bear hunt with me? And I said, bear hunt? Boy, that sounds interesting. But thinking about bears, bears bite back. Bears can kill you.
That ain't the deer.
So the deer not gonna kill you, but a bear can kill you.
Right.
But I was so adventurous, Chris. I said, okay. So I flew to Saskatchewan, Canada. We actually flew into Saskatoon, and it was about a 150-mile drive north of Saskatoon where we would be hunting on the Saskatchewan River. And that was the most amazing thing to me because up that far north, it never got dark. It'd be 11, 12 o'clock midnight. It was still sun shining.
Oh, wow.
And we would actually go out to hunt the bear like at 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening with the sun shining. I might shoot a bear at midnight.
Oh, wow.
But the sun was shining,
Yeah,
and that was very confusing to my biologics. It was very confusing to me, but we hunted bears from blinds, but we were on the ground. I mean, we were accessible to the bear. We weren't just a grass-made kind of wood shed kind of blind. And we baited the bears. Baiting the bears was legal. We would bait the bears with donuts and all kinds of garbage and foods that the bears love. Bears eat anything.
Yeah.
And I remember when I took my first bear, I killed my first bear. It was the most amazing thing. And that turned me into a prolific bear hunter. Now I'm into bear hunting and I can't quit. And as you know, I started hunting bears. I was bear hunting every single year.
Yep. So you've been a father for a while now, and clearly you were a hunter and a fisherman before you were a father. How did parenthood change your life as an outdoorsman?
Well, it slowed down a lot. I mean, when y'all started coming along, man, y'all kind of drained the money off too, the money started fading away when y'all came around. So I couldn't, those extravagant hunts, I couldn't do as many of those extravagant hunts as I used to do. But I still was able to get in a hunt every now and then, here and there, I'd squeeze one in. And then, of course, I wanted to start you off hunting. So I started Ronnie off. He's your older brother, and I started him off. And I actually started Ty off and took Ty hunting, your sister. She's the oldest of the four of you. And, I started everybody off one by one. I started you off and got you hunting. So the best way for me to keep hunting was to get you guys hunting.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's a good reason, but also what made you decide, like, hey, these are my kids, they're going to be hunters and fishermen, and if they don't want to do it, it's important to me that they know how to do it, because where we grew up, we didn't have to be outdoorsmen, but you turned us into outdoorsmen. So why was that important to you?
Well, I just think the love of the great outdoors is a wonderful thing. It's outside of a church sanctuary is the closest you're ever going to be to God.
Yes.
I've said that for years. If you get out into the woods, into nature, it is just a marvelous sanctuary. Just to feel that, just to feel God's creatures, and then to his vegetation, the beauty of the woods. It's just a lake, sun rising on a lake.
Yes.
Early in the morning. It's just so beautiful to hear loons calling out, to hear the ducks quacking coming in. I mean, it's something special. And if you fall in love with that, if you fall in love with nature that way, it'll keep you for life. And I just fell in love with nature, and I wanted you all to know that love as well. So, I just take you guys out. I used to take you guys out, and we just walk in the woods first before I ever started hunting. You remember?
I remember.
I used to teach y'all how to walk in the woods, and I said, walk in every step that y'all were in the single file line.
Yeah.
You guys would walk behind me, and I said, wherever I put my foot, you put your foot.
I remember.
and I taught y'all how to walk through the woods, how to spot snakes and not get bitten by a snake, and how not get lost in the woods.
Poison ivy.
I taught you guys your directions, your north, south, east, west. I taught you all the things that I learned as a Boy Scout, by the way. Everything I learned as a Boy Scout, I taught you guys.
Right.
And I was really proud of you guys. I mean, so it was kind of me dragging y'all along and saying, come on, let's go.
So,
and y'all always wanted to go.
Of course, we wanted to go. But as we know, Mom is an awesome lady. How did having a wife that supports you in hunting and fishing, make you want to keep it going? I mean, because she loves cleaning, cooking some of the stuff that we bring home, and it's always awesome. So how was that important?
Well, very important. I mean, once again, hunting and fishing takes money. So, I mean, when you start buying boats and guns and all this paraphernalia and all kinds of stuff, your wife has got to be on board with you, because you're going to spend a lot of money on stuff, and she, you could be buying draperies or pillowcases and stuff like that for the house. And so you'd have to come to a conclusion that, okay, my wife's going to have to agree with me on this. And she did. She loved it. In fact, your mother's hunting.
Absolutely.
With me. I took Mama on a hunt. Mama killed 2 deer one day.
Absolutely.
By herself. I put on a stand, and down in Louisiana, we were hunting on a hunting club down in Louisiana, and I put your mom on a tree stand, a ladder stand, as a matter of fact, and I put up that stand, and they had panthers, what we call the Louisiana panther, which is like a leopard, that were around there killing deer, and everybody was looking out for the panthers. And I told your mama, I said, listen, can I leave you here? You gonna be all right? I'm worried about the panther. She said, baby, I got the gun. The panther ain't got the gun.
That's Mom.
And I left your mom there, And I remember I was going to my stand, and as I was driving on my four wheeler to my stand, I heard gunshots, three gunshots, boom, boom, boom. I said, "Oh God, Lord, a panther's after my wife." I turn around. I turned around and started running back to the stand, driving back to the stand, lickety split, because I'm thinking, she's shooting at a panther, man. I
Right.
get back there and I see up on the stand and she's all right. So thank God. I said, "What's up?" She said, "Get my deer. He's over there." And I went over to the deer that she had shot. She said, "Now get my other deer over there." I said, "Hey, baby, you can't shoot with one. You shot two." She said, "Yeah, you didn't tell me I couldn't shoot two." I said, "You shot two deer?" She said, "Yeah." She said, "There's one there and there's one there." I said, "Oh my God, this girl is shot up the woods."
Well, she used your tag, but that's
Yeah.
cool.
I had to use my tag
I
because
know.
you can only take one a day. Yeah.
Yeah, mom is awesome, man. We know she loves to hunt, and she actually loves to fish too. A lot of people don't know that about mom, and she will
Mm-hmm.
bait her own hooks, and she will bait yours too. So
Well, but she was a little tomboy when she came up, so she was never scared of things like worms and outdoors and stuff. She just jumped right in it.
oh, don't I know it? so so we've covered some pretty big parts of your life. So how did the mentality and being a hunter and fisherman, how did that assist you in building your ministry?
uh, well, I've often said some of my best sermons came to me when I was hunting or fishing.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like I'm communing not only with nature, but I'm communing with God. And I think God has spoken to me very clearly and soundly at times when I was either fishing or hunting. I really believe that the quiet, the solitude, um, it's a beautiful thing when you can hear God speak to you.
Absolutely.
And I think it inspired me greatly. And of course, by being at church all the time, I've told many stories um, about my hunting experiences and relating them to the Bible and what it is. The Bible is full of hunters. The Bible is full of hunters. Um, and it just is something special. It's just something very, very special about fishing. The old folk used to say, "God won't take away any of your lifetime for the time you spend fishing." I used to hear people say that all the time. So you just keep fishing and you live longer
Mm-hmm.
because God won't take that time away from you. And I kind of felt that way about hunting as well. But remember, I started hunting as a meat eater, providing for my grandmother. And then I started providing for other people.
Right.
So a lot of my hunting was for them. And I used to kill rabbits to sell to the grocery stores in South Memphis. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story. So we used to sell rabbits to the grocery stores, who then sold rabbits to people.
Right.
Used to be a time you could go into the grocery stores in the black neighborhoods and buy a couple rabbits. Well, I was one of the guys supplied those rabbits.
That's pretty cool. That's
Hmm.
pretty cool. And I remember you said that you sold rabbits to a store that actually where mom's father, granddad, where he bought the rabbits.
The store that I sold, I'm going to name it because they was illegal to do that, but they were doing it. The store that I sold the rabbits to, James Henry Kerr, who was my wife's father, used to buy rabbits from that store. So there's a good chance now. There's a good chance that I killed a rabbit that Mr. Kerr bought that might have fed Linda.
Wow.
Now, isn't that weird?
That is weird, but coincidences is an amazing thing. So, tell us about that critter you sitting on right there.
This is a mountain lion. This is a mountain lion that I'm sitting his hide here, and see his feet, his paw.
Right.
This is paw. I got his tail out here somewhere. Here's his tail. So I'm literally sitting on a mountain lion, and I was elk deer hunting, mule deer hunting up in Colorado, and I shot a nice 8-point mule deer.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to go back down the mountain to get the four-wheeler to come up and to carry the deer out. By the time I come up the hill on that four-wheeler, my deer that that I left laying at a certain spot was gone.
Oh, wow.
And I said, now I know that deer was dead. I know the deer was dead because I checked to see that the deer was dead, but the deer was gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked over and I saw something move. And there was this mountain lion that was dragging my deer
Wow.
off and trying to drag it down the other side of a ravine.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked and I said, you low down rascal, stealing my deer. And of course, he's on the back of the chair now.
Yeah, I know.
I had to send him to mountain lion heaven for stealing my deer. So I never mounted him. I didn't mount him because I said that he was too disrespectful. So I sit on him. I sit on him all the time. So this is who I'm sitting on, the mountain lion that tried to steal my deer.
So you've had like tons of adventures, but tell us about the time when you rescued a lost hunter.
Okay, that was in Ontario. That was on a caribou hunt,
Mm-hmm.
and up where we're hunting, we're hunting only about 85 miles from the Arctic Circle. So we're way north, up above the 55th parallel. I'm talking geography now, but I'm way above the 50th parallel, about 80 miles to the Arctic Circle. That's a different kind of climate up there. Now, the only time you can go up there and hunt is literally from June to August,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
After that, it's ice. It's just frozen. Fog could come in very quickly. When we were caribou hunting up there, the guides would take you to a place and drop you off. You got to imagine just lake after lake after lake after lake. Lakes are everywhere, but just lakes everywhere.
Right.
And we would get in a boat and we'd be driven to an island, to one island, to another island, to another island, and they would drop you off and they would point you to where the stand is, and you go up to the stand and hunt. Okay. Now, they would tell us, don't leave your stand. If you shoot a caribou and he walks off and we need to blood trail him, that's find the caribou. Wait till we get back. This was an elderly gentleman from New Jersey,
Mm-hmm.
and him and his two sons were on this hunting trip together. We were all at this hunting club, and they dropped him off. And when we came back in that evening, they reported they couldn't find him.
Mm.
They couldn't find him. And I had hunted the same island that he was on the day before.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we all decided to get back in the boats to go look for him, they took me back to that island that I had hunted on. What happened was he had walked off, and up there in those woods, in those conditions, you can get 20 feet in the woods and get totally disoriented because everything looks the same.
Right.
And you won't remember how to get back. If you don't mark it, and if you don't know how to mark it,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't know how to mark a trail, well, find your way back.
Right.
You'll get lost because you're
Absolutely.
walking the wrong direction. And that's what happened to him. And so I just kept walking, and I kept yelling for his name and yelling for his name. I walked a little further and further, yelling for him. And finally I heard him way off, and he was completely turned around, walking the wrong way. He was walking away from where he should be instead of towards. And I told him to stay still, and I told him to keep talking. And I walked to the sound of his voice,
Mm-hmm.
and I found him. And he said, "Woo, I'm sure glad you found me." And we walked back, and that's how we did it. Because if he had kept going further, he would have made it back.
Yeah. Especially going the wrong direction in that kind of wilderness. That's a very dangerous situation.
Well, what's more dangerous than you're in an area with bears,
Mm-hmm.
brown bears,
Mhm.
and wolves.
Yeah.
You got Arctic wolves, you got brown bears, black bears too. It's not a walk through the park. It's a dangerous walk when you don't know what you're doing.
Okay. Well, moving on to another subject. What is a dream hunt? I know you've done plenty of hunts. You've hunted Tanzania. You've done Cape Buffalo. You've got monster brown bears, black bears. You've done pretty much everything there is to do. But what is a dream hunt or a dream fishing trip that you would like to do one day?
Well, my dream hunt was to go to Africa,
Mm-hmm.
naturally, and I did that in 1998.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Tanzania, and to Kenya. And I did a 5 species hunt uh, there. And that was my dream hunt. Um, I would love to go back. I would love to go back now. We did some good things over there. We were with a group from Safari Club International called Hunters for the Hungry. And we were actually killing game to feed the native villages there in Africa.
That's awesome.
The natives are not allowed to kill the game. In fact, it's called poaching if they kill them, and they can go to prison for many years if they hunt the game. The government wants to make the money off the hunters, especially the so-called white hunters
Right.
that come. Of course, I'm not a white hunter, but that's how they made their money. So the natives could not hunt or kill the meat walking right out from their house, and they could literally be starving,
Wow.
especially need a protein, and they couldn't kill a gazelle or whatever, And we started doing that Hunters for the Hungry, and we helped a lot of natives, a lot of villages, and I got to hunt my favorite animal, which was the Cape buffalo, which was still regarded as probably the most dangerous animal in Africa, far more dangerous than a lion. The Cape buffalo has probably injured or killed more hunters than any animal in Africa.
Yes.
So that was a thrill. I got two of them. I got two. I got one really big and one kind of average. But I just fell into this thing of enjoying hunting, and especially enjoying hunting dangerous game.
Right. So, with the hunting dangerous game, did you ever really get into the deep sea fishing?
Oh yeah, you know that. Yeah, I got into that. Every time we went somewhere like to the Bahamas or to Mexico, California, Hawaii, I'd charter a boat, take all of y'all out. I started you deep sea fishing, and you're the deep fishing. You're the best deep fisherman in the family right now. You and Billy probably are the best at that. Me and Renee and Ty. No, that's y'all's thing. You and Billy can do that better than. Anyway, it's too much work for me.
I ain't never been scared of a fight, so it's a fight.
I go with you guys, and I'll be the cameraman, but I go with you guys. I'll let you guys do all the fishing.
Yeah, it's definitely a workout. But yeah, Dad, this has been awesome. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
No, just happy to, just proud that, a man lives and wonders if he has given his family, his children a legacy. And I see that I've given you all my legacy, my love for the outdoors. And I'm proud of that. Because I know one thing about my kids. If all of these grocery stores run out of food, my children will not go hungry.
Not at all. We be having
My
parties.
children will not go hungry.
That's true. That is true. Well, that is awesome. It's so great to have you, Dad. I know that you're one of the greatest outdoorsmen, especially out of Memphis. I think I don't know of anybody else, black, white, yellow, green, or whatever, that's hunted and done the adventures that you've been on and has been as successful at hunting and fishing as you have.
Remember this though. Remember, I was on national television on ESPN hunting. I've been on national television hunting. Articles written about me in national hunting magazines. My pictures hunting all over Memphis in gun shops and stores around the city of Memphis.
Yes.
I think that for the fight against racism, I think that I'd served some good. That I showed that African Americans can do whatever anyone else can do, and I think we broke some barriers, broke down some walls, and I'm happy about that. I'm very happy about that. So I was sort of a pioneer for African Americans. I mean, it was different, but it was something I just had to do. It was a mission in life for me.
Right. Well, that's awesome. Well, Dad, I thank you for coming on the show, being our very first guest, and we definitely look forward to having you back. And we got plenty more fishing and hunting stories to tell because we got a lot more coming up this year, actually.
That's right.
Yeah, we're
That's
getting
right.
out there, y'all. Y'all gonna see some special footage coming soon of me and my dad and brothers in the woods going to get it. So bow season is right around the corner, and deer season for the state of Tennessee for rifle is November 6th. So that is awesome. So we're looking forward to it and looking forward to getting out in the vulture deer stand free free hunting in the woods. So we're looking forward to it, guys. But thanks a lot, Dad, for joining us.
I'm so glad, Chris. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. We will catch you next time.
Thank you, son. Bye-bye.
Bye. Awesome. And yes, guys, we thank him for joining us. That was very, very awesome. It's very good to, hear him and seeing everything he went through as a deer hunter and everything that he's still teaching us as hunters and fishermen. But now we're getting to the news portion of the show, letting you guys know a few things that's going on this show. I'll be talking to you about some local news, some national news, and world outdoors news. And today, first of all, I'm going to talk about some Memphis news. We have a big catfish tournament coming, of course, to Memphis. And as always, it's going to be taking place on September 15th. And this is going to be going down with the Mississippi River Monsters. So that's going to be pretty cool. So you guys, any of you catfishermen, if you want to get into it, for more information, event credentials, or whatever, just reach out to these guys. And that's midsouthhuntingandfishing.com. So check them out, guys. They're pretty good. Also, Tennessee, my Tennessee people, guys. I talked to so many fishermen who were talking about, oh man, I wish they could, change the size, the size of the crappie that we could take or whatever. So this is our chance, guys. The TWRA is inviting fishing proposals. So if you have any fishing proposals with the state of Tennessee, just shoot them an email. The guy you need to contact is fishinggreg.comments@tn.gov. So check them out if we want to do that. Now I'm getting into some more interesting stuff in Arkansas. Right across the bridge here in Memphis. October 1st through 3rd is Women's Outdoor Weekend for the women's. It's not Women Wednesday, but they are doing this October 1st through 3rd in Arkansas. So ladies, take advantage with the Arkansas Game and Fishing Commission. They are good people, and they have some of the most beautiful lakes out. I can tell you, Arkansas has more beautiful lakes than Tennessee or Mississippi. Like, some of the clearest lakes, clearest water that you can fish down in this part of the United States. So that's pretty cool. So moving on, guys, to some news that I want to show you. Check this out.
This is the largest blue marlin ever caught and recorded in Maryland. It's 1,135 pounds. 41-year-old Billy Gerlach from Jupiter, Florida, caught it August 20th during the Mid-Atlantic Fishing Tournament in Ocean City. It took him about 3 hours to reel the big fish in, saying afterward he waited his whole life for that bite. The previous record was set 12 years ago. Jeff Pedroulis for CBSN, Baltimore.
Yo, 1,135 pound blue marlin. Yo, that's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing. My dad kind of mentioned it, but I am a saltwater fishing, deep sea fishing fanatic. Anytime I go anywhere close to the ocean, I have to go fishing. I have to. Some people, they're just oh, let me go lay on the beach and get sunburned. And some people oh, let me go at the swim up bar. I have to go fishing anywhere I go. This shirt I'm wearing, I got from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico earlier this year. Went on a little fishing trip. Didn't catch the fish that we wanted because caught a bunch of barracudas. But everywhere I go, guys, I have to fish. And for this guy from Florida to go to Maryland, of all places, I didn't even know they had 1,000 pound marlins in Maryland, but that is pretty cool. And that is something that is amazing to me. And I just had to show you guys that. The next one I'm going to show you is this. Check it out.
Hey, Mom and Dad, here's something you don't expect to hear your child yelling from down the hall. There's a zebra in our backyard. But yes, in an Upper Marlboro backyard, there was a zebra. More than just a zebra actually. Layla Curling spotted 1, 2, and then 3 last Thursday, and her sister captured them on camera.
I saw a zebra. I thought it was a deer for about 3 seconds, and then I thought my mom was playing tricks on me.
It's amazing to see something that's not supposed to be there.
No, not supposed to be there. So where are they supposed to be? Prince George's County Animal Control tells us the zebras ran off from this property near Croom and Dooley Station roads, where you will find more well-behaved zebras. As for the ones on the loose, I don't know if Purina makes zebra chow, but somebody might want to get some and get these critters back home.
I had to share that with you guys. Can you imagine in your backyard you see some zebras? Like, seriously, can you imagine just that? But that just goes to show you have to be vigilant of what's going on in the outdoors, because in America, in Maryland, outside of Washington, D.C., you could potentially have some zebras in your backyard. So stay vigilant, guys. Our next story. This is actually a story for me. This is a story for me. I know you guys are seeing it says stay safe while using tree stands. This deer's hunting season. Y'all, a lot of people have fallen out of deer stands, and I know a lot of my people that are going to watch this, you're hunters. Be safe. I know, like, especially for me, I'm climbing up deer stands, and I got my backpack on, I got my rifle slung around my back, and now I'm carrying camera equipment up there. And it's just important to just be safe, guys, especially early in the morning when we get out there to hunt. Sometimes 5 o'clock in the morning, you know, ice can be on the deer stand, condensation, whatever. So this is just me telling you, everybody, as we approach bow season, be careful, guys. We don't need any accidents. And look, if you can't drag a deer, get some help, man. We don't want anybody, you know, having a heart attack out in the woods or falling out of tree stands or anything like that. So just try to be extra mindful about that this year, guys, and stay safe. So to some sad news. As we all know, the Gulf Coast got hammered by Hurricane Ida, and a man was attacked and killed and possibly eaten by an alligator. And I just want to say this to my people in areas that are getting hit by hurricanes, and even people in the areas that are getting hit by hurricanes that typically don't get hurricanes. Y'all, when these natural events happen and they bring the water in, animals get displaced too. Animals get displaced too. So you could be walking to your tool shed in your backyard, and there could be a shark in the water, or there could be a jellyfish in the water, or whatever that can harm you. So this one is actually just a warning to my people, especially on the Gulf Coast, East Coast, the Carolinas, and even New York, New Jersey. Now, just be safe. If you ever get flooded, you know, be mindful of the water in your situations. I guess this is mostly for a lot of non-hunters, but hunters, we kind of know how to look for that kind of stuff. But this was a very sad story about a gentleman who lost his life to they're estimating an over 10-foot alligator. So, you know, it's just something to think about, guys. But, you know, I'm glad that you all have joined me. This has been our first episode. I'm going to be doing this every week with you guys. Sometimes it's going to change, sometimes not. You know, this is our first episode, so I had a few technical difficulties getting it on, but we're going to get these things hammered out. Just to show you one thing, I'm pretty fired up about this, though. Me and my mom, y'all, have created a barbecue rub, and we're going to call it Memphis barbecue rub. But the thing about it is, I don't know if we need to call it barbecue rub, because literally it's good on everything. Like, I put it on vegetables. Like, I've literally cooked with this thing. I put it in the baked potato, like, yesterday, y'all. Like, this, I might need to change it to all-purpose seasoning. I'm thinking about it, but I need to find some people where I can package this thing and get this thing going and get it selling, because I think this is better than anything. And salt-free. I don't cook anything with salt, guys, but that is absolutely delicious. I think you guys are going to love it when I figure out how to get this thing packaged, but until you guys can get it, I'm just going to be using it in my house and being selfish with it. So you may see me cooking with it. But also, y'all, I'm really trying to plan this thing out. If you guys have any ideas or information where you would like to see me go, or my brothers or my dad or anybody, put it in the comments, or you can email us at brotherzoutdoors@gmail.com, because like we literally do everything. As you heard from my dad, we're a pretty adventurous family. So wherever the action is where I'm trying to go. I'm looking forward to the next few episodes. I'm going to be releasing episodes every Monday morning at 6 a.m. So before you get up to go to work, the episode will already be posted on YouTube. And I'm just looking forward to showing you guys what all I have coming. We have some saltwater fishing coming, deer hunting, of course, coming. We may even throw in a hog hunt here and just see where it can go. And I'm gonna do some cooking videos because I want to show you guys how I do my cooking, y'all. I'm kind of unorthodox. I love barbecuing, but I can't cook in the kitchen if I need to. So it's gonna be pretty cool, and I look forward to being on this ride with you guys. Now, for you all, you can support the show because, as my dad said, these trips and these hunting trips and ammo and everything that we're doing is not cheap. So if you can, just donate to us at Brotherz Outdoorz on Cash App. That's $ Brotherz Outdoorz, and we'll be able to get this thing going. But y'all, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to y'all being on this ride with me. I'm looking forward to everything that Brotherz Outdoorz is gonna do, and I'm looking forward to showing the world a different kind of outdoorsman, because, as you know, we're professionals, but at the same time, we can get down and dirty in the mud and in the woods. So I love it. I thank you guys for joining Brotherz Outdoorz tonight. I look forward to many more of these episodes, and we're going to get this thing rolling. But until then, I'm out, y'all. Y'all take it easy. Episode 1. Success. Victory. Y'all take care. Join me next week.